Good morning, Gigsters. How is everyone today? Shit. Happy Sunday, everybody. You guys can see where I am. I don't know if you can actually hear me, but I am starting my Sunday off pretty good. Pretty good. This is usually my normal routine. I usually start Sunday mornings off with a cup of coffee, my go-go juice, and I started off with a clean truck. So, but that doesn't delay us from, why does my face look so dark right here? Guys, I've been going through, so, but we're coming to the end of the road, so I'll come back to you guys with today's message. See you soon. Good morning, Gigsters. I hope everyone is doing well. Happy Sunday, Fun Day Sunday. That is like my favorite day. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kind of going through something right now. Man, goddamn. Breakups are the worst. Anyway, I didn't want the week to go by without checking in with you guys and saying, get money. If you guys will just excuse my energy being a little bit off today, I promise we'll get through this. And I hope that the message that I bring you guys today is something that you can use to help you with your app gigging. So let's go ahead and dive in. So what I came up with is, as a project lead, as a project engineer by trade and by education, it's so important. It's vitally important with anything that you start to have the proper plan. And app gigging is no different. There are some very important key questions that I believe that every appster should ask themselves before jumping into committing to anything with regards to making supplemental income. Because let's face it, if it's not something that you enjoy, if it's not something that you're going to really be committed to, it's not going to serve you, and it may even add a greater stress on your time and on you just as a person, on your energy, a greater drain on all of that, and more stress, and that's not what it's supposed to be. I thought about this topic a few days ago, and I needed to get out the house to bring this message to you guys today, but it's the 5 things to consider when suiting up or considering an app gig that's right for you. Now, we all know that there are quite a million, well, maybe not quite a million, but there are several various apps out here. I mean, you cannot go through YouTube or even online without finding a supplemental way to make money. So what I've done is I've just designed 5 key areas for you to look at to make sure that you are choosing the app that's right for you. Number 1, understand your skill set. Understand not just what you're good at, but what you're great at. The reason I say not what you're good at is because at the end of the day, any gig, any app gig, any job at all is all about making money, and we are good at making money. You know, we're so good at it that a lot of times we will go far beyond our own happiness, our own passions, our own dreams, just to make a coin or just to collect the bag. But this is supplemental. This is something extra. And sometimes for some of it, it is the mainstay, but you definitely want to do something that's more in line with your, not just your goals and your visions of having more money, but something that actually brings you a little bit of happiness. Consider your passions. Consider what gives you relief, what breaks the stress. For example, if you're like me and you like to drive, and hitting that open road or just going from here to there really helps to clear your mind, then doing a drive service like DoorDash or Caviar or Postmates may be great for you. If you're a person that likes to shop, even if it's just window shopping, but you just like the energy of being in the store, the energy of being a consumer, the energy of buying freely, and I do understand that, you know, even if you have an addiction to it, then try something like Instacart or Shipt. Again, there are so many varying apps out here that you can truly find something that works for you. There's even dog walking apps. If you're an animal lover, there are pet sitting apps. If you like to just go and watch somebody's cat for a night while they go out and have a good night, or go out and have a date night. I mean, there's all kinds of things out here. So before you go out and you start to study, what's out here, dig in, climb in, get into the seat of your heart and find out what's your skill set, what you're great at, and what your passion is, most importantly. The second one is location. So now that we understand ourselves, I think that it's important that we understand what we're surrounded by. I'll give you an example of that. There are certain areas here in Michigan where fast food restaurants are overly abundant. I mean, you can't go up the street without running into some kind of McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, so forth and so on. And then just less than maybe 5 miles radius away from that, you enter into an area that has a lot of more dine-in restaurants, sit and stay restaurants that offer a higher quality of food. Well, when you start to pick the app that you want to work, consider your area, consider your location, consider what's offered in your location and how that app actually helps to service that need. For example, if you do have an app where you're working it and McDonald's is at every corner, that app may not be doing so great in that area because the convenience of walking up the street may not inconvenience others. And I am sure I didn't say that the way I'm thinking it, but that's because that cute little girl is with her little teddy bear just threw me off. But if you're in an area that is highly concentrated with fast food restaurants, that everyone can easily get to, then DoorDash may not be popping there. But if you're somewhere like you're out in the burbs where the closest fast food restaurant is like 5 to 10 miles from the residential area, then yeah. So consider your location. Consider what's in your location. Same thing about if you're in a rural area versus being in a metropolitan area. If you're in a metropolitan area and you're considering doing something like Uber, or you're considering doing something like Lyft, and public transportation is very, very strong and highly structured, you may not make as much as you would make within that surrounding suburban area where people actually have to get in their car and drive, or in areas that are, again, considering location, an area that's highly populated with nightclubs and bars on the weekends. Ain't nobody trying to catch no ticket. The third is your schedule and availability. Excuse me, I want to take a sip. So with regards to the schedule and availability, for example, I think I've mentioned before that I am a full-time employee. I do crank out a lot of hours on my day job. And then I do my apps kind of like on the side. And in addition to that, just started my own company. Your schedule and availability. You want something that is going to work around your schedule. Again, this is a supplemental income, so this is not something that you want to be stressing you out. If you know that you don't leave the office or you don't leave your day job until 3, but in order to get the prime time schedule with your app, too much Twilight action. But if in order for you to get that prime time with your app, you have to be available at like 3 o'clock. That's just, that doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's going to stress you out. Or if you're working with an app that takes you all the way up to 11 o'clock just for you to collect a decent coin, and you know that normally you're in bed by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at the latest in order to get up at 5 a.m. to go to your day job, again, that may not be for you. It's not to say that it can't work for you, but the harder it is, the more difficult it is, let's just be honest, the more resistant you're going to be to stay committed to it. So make it easy on yourself. The fourth is with regards to effort. how much effort is needed to do these things. I think in a few past videos, you guys saw how I kind of struggled with some apps. I think namely it was probably Instacart. I really struggled with it, but there are people out here that are banging it out, and kudos to you guys who are banging it out and doing amazing with that app. Again, knowing yourself, it wasn't for me. To me, the coin did not equal the effort, so it really was not something that I wanted to dive into. But again, for other people who love to shop, who know how to shop, because there are some people who actually know how to shop. It's not what you think. It's not as easy as you think. But for those who are actually into that thing, and even the same with Lyft and with Uber, it takes people who actually, are perfectly fine with being in the car all day and driving and stopping and starting and stopping. It's like you have to balance out what the effort is so that it's not something that stresses you out, in order for you to stay confident and to stay consistent. Last but not least, let's talk about opportunity. Now, I've mentioned before that I have so many other venues, so many other avenues that I'm working right now at the same time that it makes me tired just to think about it. But cash flow is king, and that's the primary focus, at least for me. So when it comes to opportunity, I'm not looking at these cash apps or any of these apps to be lasting more than 8 to 12 months before I venture out. And that's really a long time for me, before I want them to progress into other opportunities. Now, you have to consider how far you can go, how far you can improve, and how much more money you can gain from doing the same thing. I don't want to encourage anyone to get locked in, and I don't know anyone who does. I don't know anyone, honestly, who has made a life living off of Lyft, where they've been doing it for the past 10 years. I don't even know if it's been around 10 years, but you know what I mean. So you want to consider, what are the opportunities that this app can lead to? And even if you don't know them right off the bat, like if you're just signing up, you really can't see how this is going to fit into your whole financial freedom structure or your whole financial future, then at least have it in the back of your mind, constantly considering it. I know for me, it's easy for me to tell when something in my life is just temporary. I get kind of like a little sixth sense that just says, yeah, this not going to last that long. I can't see myself doing this much longer. Or, man, I wonder how much longer I got to do this shit. Whenever I get that little tingling, that little spider queen sense going, it's like I already know this is just something that's temporary and there's not a lot of opportunity in it. But again, it's important to at least have that in the back of your mindset so that you can determine what your next steps are before you come to the door. So I hope that helps someone today in determining, again, out of the myriad of highly engaging applications that are out here and ways to make supplemental income. I hope that that really helps someone to kind of pinpoint it or narrow it down into what may work for them. And I hope that I can continue to bring you guys valuable input and valuable information for you to consider and to make your app gigging just that much better. Thanks for your support and thanks for watching, guys. Continue to win. Bye.